Today marks 4 years since the deadly crash of Flight 3407 in Clarence Center.
50 lives were lost, all 49 people on board the Continental flight from Newark, and one man who died in his Longstreet home when the plane literally fell straight out of the sky. That crash was attributed to pilot error. Just 5 miles away from landing at the airport, the plane pitched and jerked for 25 seconds before falling belly down onto the ground. In 2010, the NTSB concluded the young pilots did exactly the opposite of what they were supposed to do in that situation. Since then, families of the victims have been fighting for tougher regulations for pilots. Those rules were signed into law by President Obama, but still are not being implemented by the FAA. Late yesterday, some family members went to Washington, D.C. as they continue their fight for flight safety. They have a long day ahead of them filled with meetings. News 4's Ed Dranch is with the family members in Washington today.
Yeah, he sent us this report from his hotel early this morning.
Diana, Jordan, good Tuesday morning to you. As you mentioned, today marks the 4-year anniversary of that deadly crash of Flight 3407 over Clarence Center. It was coming from Newark, New Jersey, and making its way to Buffalo when it crashed just 5 miles outside of Buffalo. And on this 4-year anniversary, the families of Flight 3407 are making it their duty to take on Washington to make sure that the skies are safer for all of us. So here's what they're doing today. They're meeting with all different senators and representatives from all different states and all different parts of the country to try and put pressure on the FAA to pass tough new regulations for new pilots. Here's what those requirements would entail. Each pilot that's hired coming this summer would be hired with at least 1,500 hours of flight experience. They'd also have certain crew training, especially for weather events. As you remember, it was very icy and very cold the night that flight crashed. The FAA, however, wants to weaken the requirement essentially for new pilots come the summer. They only want 750 hours for military pilots and 1,000 hours for folks with 4-year aviation degrees. The families, of course, again, putting pressure on the FAA to meet their deadlines since they say that they've missed certain deadlines up until this point. There are 2 more deadlines coming up in this summer and then in October of 2013. And again, the families of Flight 3407 want to make sure that the skies are safer for all of us who are traveling. We'll continue to follow this story for you, and I'll bring you live updates throughout the night on News 4 at 5 and 6, and of course online at WIVB.com. In Washington, D.C., Ed Dranch, News 4 Wake Up.
Ed, thank you so much. Ed, obviously, as he said, has a long day ahead following these families this morning. The families will attend a mass at 7 o'clock this morning before all of the meetings that they have planned. And back here at home, there will be a vigil on Longstreet at the site of the crash. That begins at 10 tonight, which was about the time when the crash happened 4 years ago.